Meet Frankie Lymon. He was born September 30th, 1942 in New York. He got his claim to fame only at 13 years old when he joined the singing group The Teenagers. The group hit number 1 on the Billboard with their hit singles Why Do Fools Fall in Love and I Want You to Be My Girl. The 13-year-old lead singer finally got his big break when the record label decided to push him as a solo act. The group fell apart. By the time Frankie Lymon reached 18, his solo career was on the decline. People loved him when he was young, but as he got older, he faded into the background. This is Rain Said That, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't seen the movie Why Do Fools Fall in Love, starring Lorenz Tate, Halle Berry, Vivica Fox, and Lita Rashawn, it's a rough depiction of the life of Frankie Lymon and all the things that he has been through on stage and behind the scenes. On stage, it seems as though that he was struggling with his own personal battles with drugs addiction. And off the stage, he was also battling his love addiction. It says during the movie that Frankie Lymon was married 3 times, and while I was looking at his complicated love life, I couldn't help to see the resemblance of this current pop star, Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber, born March 1st, 1994 in Ontario, Canada. He released his first big single, Baby, on January 18, 2010, and that led him on his way to superstardom. Only at 13 years old, he branches off to superstardom not only on the pop chart, but also as an R&B artist. He is able to sustain his success and able to manage to cross over not only from a childhood singer, but well into adulthood. But now in 2025, we have now seen that the sudden love and admiration for Justin Bieber has finally came to a halt. People are now questioning what is going on with Justin Bieber, the same way they begin to question what is going on with Frankie Lymon. I feel as though people don't realize how important the childhood years are for development. And while we were busy playing on the playground, these 2 child stars were busy working, paying their parents' bills. The time where you are 13 years old, you're supposed to be being loved as a child. You're supposed to be guided. You're supposed to be held. But it seems as though both of these 13 years old was left to fend for themselves out in the world. Frankie Lymon spoke once briefly in an interview with Ebony magazine that at the age of 15, he was introduced to a drug called heroin by a woman that was twice his age. Now, I'm not sure why there's a woman that is twice his age giving him heroin, but I can say that if you were at your parents' house at this time, stuff like that and things and situations should not be able to touch you because you're supposed to be protected and provided for by your family. So I honestly feel as though Justin Bieber is lashing out not only because he's not happy, but he's supposed to be being loved by his wife. But people are speculating that she only married him just for the Justin Bieber's last name, and that allegedly she only married him because she wanted to spite her arch nemesis Selena Gomez because, hey, your ex-boyfriend is now my future husband, and I'm not trying to let him go no time soon. So maybe when you think of Justin Bieber, you need to also see him as a lens of a child because honestly, what happens to a child that is never loved? What happened to a child when they was never protected? So I feel as though people don't want to make excuses for Justin Bieber, and also people don't want to make excuses for Frankie Lymon doing his erotic behaviors and how he's trying to get married and find some type of happiness, because at the end of the day, these children are not happy. At the end of the day, Frankie Lymon never got the career that he wanted. The solo career never took off. And he was always sitting there waiting, but really nobody was really going to work with him in the first place because he was only marketable when he was a child. Nobody pretty much cared about Frankie Lymon when he got older. He was just a grown man. Nobody wanted to hear him singing anymore. He's not cute. It's like the puppy to dog syndrome that people talk about, where people just love puppies, but when they see a stray dog, they just send them straight to the pound. It's the same thing with childhood stars. It's the same thing with childhood singers. So this is why I called it the mirror pipeline, because the same thing that happened to Frankie Lymon is the same thing that's happening to Justin Bieber. Nobody cares, because he's no longer a child, and now, he's into adulthood, is no longer cute. Is no longer sustainable. But you have to understand that he never had a childhood in the first place. So, he's always had to be grown. And then when you're looking back, when you're getting older, you start to say, man, I wish I was at school. Man, I wish I was on the playground. Man, I wish I had friends, instead of trying to be grown and growing up too fast. And I feel as though those are the complication. Those are the results of, growing up too fast and then not being able to have fun and enjoy those childhood. Because even when people get older in their 70s and their 80s, they always look up at their childhood days. People always say, man, don't try to grow up so fast because you're going to miss your childhood. Well, these two didn't have a childhood. They was working during childhood. So now it's time for them to grow up and be happy. And they was just looking back and trying to say, I was never happy. I never had fun. I never did what I wanted to do. I never got outside and go and play. So the pipeline mirrors because people are now seeing Justin Bieber and saying that, oh, he needs help. He continues to lash out in his marriage. But honestly, what is he supposed to do? I actually watched the documentary with Hailey Bieber in it, and their dynamic doesn't seem very lovey-dovey. It just seems very boring. It just seems very plain. Justin Bieber is the type of guy that's going to need a lot of love, a lot of coddling, and a lot of babying because he didn't get that. So honestly, I feel as though if he was looking for that type of behavior, aka a mothering type of woman, he's going to need to find somebody else. So I feel as though that he should go ahead and get that divorce. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get and date Selena Gomez because she's already engaged to someone else. But maybe he can have luck in his another love life where someone that will actually care and baby and mother him, because that is the type of situation and love that he's looking for. This is why he's acting the way that he's acting. Because childhood stars are not loved, they are used. They don't understand that the fans only love them because they are singing the songs that speaks to their heart. They only love them when they're dancing on stage. They only love you when they can see you in the spotlight. But as soon as you walk off the stage, that's when the love fades. When you go home at night, yeah, they can love you today, but fans can always love you, forget about you tomorrow. The love is fickle. So they don't understand that them living by the praise and the fake love, when it's taken away, they also equate that to their self-worth and their value. This is the thing about being a child. When you're growing up too fast and you're growing up at the age of 13, being grown out into the world, I feel as though that maybe their development was also stunted to where haven't grown mentally. They're stuck as children mentally. So this is why they behave the way they behave, because they're basically just grown children. So he's going to have to figure out, since he actually did get the life that Frankie Lymon wanted, but he still has complication and debris of the same thing Frankie Lymon went through, because he's now going through it now. I feel as though Justin Bieber will need to end that marriage in order to heal for himself, in order to actually figure out his definition of self-love, because him looking for love in all the wrong places is turning out to be not everything that he wanted, not everything that he expected. So I feel as though he can still have a wonderful career. I feel like he just needs to go and step aside himself, get to writing his heart, his thoughts, everything that he was missing in his childhood, and write it down into his music. Write it down to what it is that he wants, what it is that he's needs. He's going to have to be very, very vulnerable in order to revamp his career. Even though things are looking dark right now, he's literally going through a lot during this dark moment. But a lot of the times when you're going through a dark moment, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like he will find that.